Okay, folks, good morning. I'm going to change tack a little bit. And we're going to start working on something that I've been saying for a long time I'm going to be working on. And I haven't gotten around to it. Put some of these things that are in the way away. Man, there's a lot of stuff here. Let's just get everything off the desk. Everything that's on here needs to come off. I don't enjoy working on this hobby if I'm being encroached. And I'm extremely right-handed, so anything over here that is on to my right is definitely in the way. And this in here. Okay, and I can't work on the tanks this morning because I've got to spray them. That's literally the next thing I have to do with them, so that's kind of a deal breaker because I can't go do that right now. There's no light out there. It is dark 30 here. And I've got all kinds of stuff. It's just no point in saving used cardboard. I have plenty of it. Okay. Now let's get this beautiful Panzer III out of the way. Alright. So I've been talking about doing the French resistance fighters for a long time. I've had these figures for probably 20 years. And, so long that they're out of print. Out of print. Castings are dead. Molds are destroyed. Something like that. I came back from my hiatus of working on World War II stuff, and some of my favorite companies are no longer in business. I mean, it has been 20 years, but there's stuff that's been made for 20 years, and they still manage to make it, and the things I don't really care for. So, why can't they keep the good stuff that's in good shape still around? But anyhow, a lot of these businesses, I'm sure it's the original owner had them and his family didn't want to continue on with it. And this happens to be one of the manufacturers, Battlefield Miniatures. The sculptor's still out doing other stuff, but these French resistance fighters are out of production. I'm just going to give this thing a quick clean. I'm really careful about not getting paint on here, and paint still gets on here. And I'm not very messy, but Cromwell models, MMS. Who else can I think of right off the bat that I really like and was out of business? Battlefield. Luckily, I bought a lot of stuff. I bought one. What I would do is I'm basically playing a role-playing game, so to speak. So I don't really want repeat figures. So just before I stopped getting World War II stuff, Battlefield had come out with their Stalingrad range of Russians and Germans. Who else would be in Stalingrad, right? And see, this stuff just comes right off. And none of it is big, but it's just a little flick here and a little flick there. I'm probably going to get more on there, considering I'm going to use the primer next. But I bought one pack of each of the Stalingrad range, so luckily I have all them. But they're beautiful figures. Who else is out of business that I really like? I can't think of right now in the 20mm world, but those two for sure. MMS and Cromwell. The Cromwell stuff, I only have one thing. I have a few MMS things, but Cromwell only have one. It's a Tiger tank. Good morning, Glenn. It's a Tiger tank that's just absolutely beautiful. Now, the only thing I don't like about Cromwell is they're 176th. I prefer 172nd. The figures are overscale a little bit, so the vehicles need to be a little bit overscale also. Just be consistent. All right, so we've got our new cardboard here. We got our figures of La Resistance that we started basing yesterday. And I've got about 30 of these guys. And I think I am going to give them armbands, but there was all kinds of different resistance groups. And these guys will end up being a mixture of different ones depending on the scenario. And, so I'm not going to make them automatically, some guys always be the communist guy, it just depends. So it's going to be the game within the game. So. All right, so the objective with these guys is this is perfect for a skirmish game, especially for people learning the scenario, because you really only need to be running a handful of folks anyways. So it'd be really easy to say, pull your characters randomly and, one person plays these three and another one plays these three. And, oh, we have a third player? Okay, so they'll play those three. And they have a mixture of weapons. You got Sten guns, Tommy guns. This guy's even got a Pyatt. That's probably going to be a special guy. We normally don't have that many useful things for Pyatt, although they would do nicely to taking out a car. Speaking of which, I've got some old 1940s type stuff. Unfortunately, some of these have modern rims, but they're going to get repainted. Be very dull looking. Not all over the place because, vehicles in France just aren't sitting around. They got commandeered probably for the Russian front or moving some officer around. Nordic, I admire the fact that you are super early even on an off day. Well, I actually got up at 4 today because the daughter went to grad night and I just got done picking her up. So I couldn't wake up at 5. I needed to wake up at 4 to go get her because she doesn't need to be driving back from school at 4:30 in the morning. But that's why I'm out extra early. And I was really excited to get up today because I had a series of, I think, 4 dreams. I slept for about 2 hours, 4 times in a row, or an hour and a half. And every one of them was just exhausting. And none of them were good dreams. They were just like conflict resolution type things. They're either work related or I think one of them actually had dragons and we were hiding from I don't know. I don't get to pick what I dream about. It certainly wouldn't be that. One of those that's like, oh man, thank goodness the night's over because I'm exhausted. Anyhow, time for some Maquis. We're going to base these guys in black, and while these guys are drying, we're going to grab some other guys. Now, there's, I think Nordic, you were mentioning this a couple months back, that do I regret having worked on DBA stuff for 18 years? And I don't, because the stuff that's available now for World War II, and my skills have improved also, but they haven't improved that much. I mean, my early DBA stuff is almost as good as my late stuff, so I'm not, or at least I'm happy with it. But the main thing is that there is so much stuff available on the internet to help us on this journey now as opposed to 20 years ago. And an example I'm going to choose for this is, all my guys have surnames. All my figures have surnames. There'll be a little nameplate on who that is. And it keeps people from having to flip it over. It keeps from being, oh, that's number 2. Well, does this guy look like a number 2? Well, maybe if it's a really shitty figure. Yeah. No, it doesn't. You can't assign a number to a guy where it looks like somebody, but maybe this looks like Jean, you know? So they have the little nameplate. All of the French resistance fighters are going to have first names only. That's going to be what's unique to them. Everybody else has last names, all the other soldiers of all the other nations. These guys have first names. That's just a decision that I've made. The other thing is, speaking of things that are available on the internet, is you can go and think, okay, French names, male and female names from 1940. So you can go and find out the most popular names during 1940. And then actually, what you can do is figure out how old some of these people are. So maybe somebody's 20 years old. So the most popular French male and female names in 1920. There's an app for that. There's a site where you can adjust that. I mean, it's amazing the kind of stuff that is on the internet. Just amazing. So the most common male name is Jean, of all people, literally of all people. Okay, here we go. So I don't want to commit who necessarily these guys are going to be, but this guy looks like a Pierre to me. But anyhow, they were all going to have first names on them. That's getting really, it's part of the excitement. You know, you're learning something. You know, wargaming for me, historical wargaming has always been about learning something. So, you know, you'll inadvertently learn stuff along the way if you choose to. That's why I just don't care for fantasy and Games Workshop type fluff, because you're learning something that's just BS. You're not learning real things. Now, you may be into that, you know. A lot of people are into science fiction and fantasy. You're not really learning anything real. So, if that's your escape, that's cool. It just doesn't do it for me. Okay, and Pierre, or whoever this guy's going to be, is done. But I think this is the way to really make the game kind of exciting, because you don't need to have a lot of figures for excitement to happen. So, and it's just like a role-playing game. People don't play a role-playing game and like, okay, we're going to run a role-playing game and then we're going to play test it multiple times for my group to make sure it's balanced. No, you just freaking do it. You know, and sometimes it's balanced and sometimes it isn't. I missed a couple spots on Pierre, did I? Well, I'll come back and get it. I didn't realize it was your turn to watch me today. You need to get some sleep, my friend. This guy's got a watch on. Anyhow, these guys have lots of caricature, for sure. And I am a big fan of these figures because every one of them's different. Now, this is going to be a case just like several of the armies I have done in 15 millimeter, where you've got to make them look bland but interesting, because these guys didn't have really wild colored clothes. You know, you just can't show up like you're at a St. Patrick's Day parade, you know? You're not going to see a lot of green on these guys. There it is. Well, luckily that's not a big deal. Usually the spots that get missed end up being in places that your finger can't reach to and touch. So if you go back and let's say something crazy happened, like, you know, you painted the whole thing and then you realize there was a spot missing, you can come in and paint that. It's not going to be a place that's going to end up getting scuffed up. Well, I don't speak French, but good morning, your friend. Okay, you tried to sleep, but it's too hot in here despite it being 54 outside. Wow, I had to turn the AC on to get some air cool in here. I have a really hard time sleeping in overly warm rooms. I do too. You have no ceiling fans? That may be. Um, we don't ever turn the house down lower than 71. It just, it's just you can't afford it. You know, I'd love to sleep in colder weather than that, but you know, in the wintertime, we don't turn on the heater, so sometimes it gets pretty freaking cold in here. But I don't complain. You're under the covers anyways. But always the ceiling fans on, always. So when I stay in a hotel room, which is going to happen in about a week, I'm going to freeze the other people in the hotel room out because a hotel room with no air, with no good air circulation, and no ceiling fan, it's got to be a lot colder than I would keep my house normally because you got to keep the air moving. So yeah, I'm going to drop it as low as it'll go, which ends up being into the mid to low 60s, and it's still not as cool as my house at now. You know, actually the fan could probably use to go up, and I got a hat on, so that's kind of warms things up. I don't have anything in my hair to keep me from turning into Krusty the Clown, so we got to wear a hat. I'm due for a haircut today, anyways, so. All right. Your house is almost 120 years old. Florida isn't 120 years old. No ceiling fans up here, but I do have a fan that is on, but not enough to cool the room down. Wow. 120 years old. So that's like 1900. Yeah, there's houses from 1900 here, but I wouldn't want to live in them. In the winter, I keep it so cold, wife sleeps with a hoodie. Well, it's free, right? It's free air conditioning. You know how much you'd have to pay for it to be 53 in the house? And it's free. Yeah, I don't have cold weather complainers, especially my daughter. We like it cold. That's why I hate going to games somewhere that's hot because I have to be hot all the time at work between the nature of my job and there's a lot of sissyfoots at work. You know, they'll do weird stuff like in the summertime they can't drop it less than 75, and then in the wintertime the heater's on like 77. Like, what kind of a sissyfoot are you? You know, that's going to be the first thing I won't miss when I retire is dealing with people that have a complete different temperature rating than I do at work. It's so freaking annoying. And it doesn't matter if they're male or female. Which I don't mind being hot, but I'm going to be at the beach, but not just sitting around sweating. You don't get a lot of work done that way. Like if I had to paint, if I had to do this in a garage or somewhere hot, I wouldn't do it. I'd find a different hobby. I'm not painting hot, sweating and shit like that. You were a butcher for 20 years. I get used to cold. I know a guy who's a butcher, and he's a sissy when it comes to cold weather. I'm not gonna mention any names, but he doesn't like to wear shoes. Flintstone the butcher. Yeah, I couldn't be a butcher, but it wouldn't be because of the cold. Well, I could airbrush these guys, but then again, it'd be something else I wouldn't be able to do right now. You get better coverage with the brush, anyways, on this stuff. Not on a vehicle. A vehicle, you kind of need to airbrush so it hits everything evenly. You're not, you're painting is that you're painting one thing, you end up taking it off. It just ends up being like trying to mop the floor and you're wearing dirty shoes kind of thing. Takes a lot longer than it should with brush painting a vehicle. I know because I've done it. So the airbrush is handy for that, putting the first coat down. Sunny, 51 Fahrenheit, Aberdeen, Scotland today. Beautiful sunny day. Ah, so today's the day, huh? Today's the one sunny day you guys have. It's 10 in the morning in London. There's a big mass of people waiting to get into salute. I can't believe you guys go through that much effort for a one-day event. I would love to go, but the best painters are in England. They are. Britain, England, the UK, whatever. I know the difference. I just say one and mean all of them. The ones I like, anyways. But a one-day event, that's kind of lame. But it's mostly, I heard, it's a trade show more than a gaming event, which I can respect. I'm not interested that much in gaming. I've played a lot, and I'd be okay with the trade show. I don't need any stuff. It's not like I'd have to go down there to, buy a thing. This guy's going to have some kind of a French tricolor with a whole cross of Lorraine on it. But I'm not going to make these guys of any specific partisan group, of which there was like umpteen. And then I have to decide, does this guy look like a communist? I can find a lot of things to like in the UK. So many historical sites to visit. Well, that's actually not a huge appeal for me because I'm not big on English history. It's not my people. It's not my problem, I wouldn't mind visiting there. I'd probably have a good time. I don't want to live anywhere other than the U.S. I've been to other countries. It's good to go to other countries, and I'm just kind of spoiled the way we do things here. Yeah, you could say there's a lot of cool miniatures and stuff over there, but there's people that are poor sports playing games in England as they are here in the UK. That just depends on the people. This is the guy with the dynamite. There's almost 100 trade stands. That's awesome. I haven't gone to play on Mondays in, I don't know, a couple months, and I don't miss it. So, and got nothing against the people. It just sometimes it's more trouble than it's worth. If it all gets done at a time that's really inconvenient, it just ends up being more trouble than it's worth. So, ooh, this guy's got a pistol. Ooh, big man. And I did download the There's a set of scenarios for 1940 for this rule set, which comes with the stats for the weapons. Not that I couldn't have just come up with them on my own, for the French weapons. Of course, not all these guys have French weapons, but they have some of them. They have those MAS rifles, which, for all intents and practical purposes, are almost the same as a lot of the other weapons, because ammunition really isn't taken into it. That's the only thing that's different in this rule set than what we were coming up with, is we were counting individual rounds, which sounds really complicated and time consuming, but you're only running a handful of guys. So it's not that difficult. And these guys are just abstracted. That's about the only thing that's abstracted in the game, is the ammunition. If you roll poorly, it means you have to have you'd have to take an action to switch ammo or something like that. It takes a little longer than normal to switch the ammo. So, then my character, we all know I'm the hand grenade that never stopped exploding. It's like a self-licking popsicle. The last game I played was that Zulu War game, and honestly, I really didn't feel like I was enjoying it. Hell, I don't even think I enjoyed playing the Triumph games either. Well, you don't have to enjoy. You do have to be, and I'm not saying you weren't, you do have to be a good sport, and you do have to be good to one another, but you don't have to enjoy the game. You can't go in and say, oh, I don't like this game, I'm going to be a pee-pee toucher the rest of the time. No, not cool. They play a lot of games at Mitch's that I don't enjoy. I don't want to play the Star Trek, whatever the hell it's called. The Fantasy Flight game, whatever the hell they play. They play it all the time. It's a good game. And there's aspects of it that I like, but I don't want to stay up till freaking midnight playing a game that when it gets going good, the game's over. It's like, Armada. No, it's not called Armada. It's called something or another. But I'm not a Star Trek person anyway, so. I played it a couple times, 3-4 times. It's a decent game, but I don't want to lose all my sleep for a week for it. And it doesn't motivate me to paint this stuff. I'm not like going to want to watch Star Trek episodes or anything. So. Just like I may put this together, nobody in my group wants to play this. That's cool. I'll solo it, and we'll do videos. I don't care. As long as it keeps me painting more of this stuff and excited about it, that's all that's important. What happened with the pandemic? What pandemic? I don't know what it's called. I can't think of it. And I don't want to stop what I'm doing to look it up. It's one that was made by Fantasy Flight or Gale Force 9. I get those two companies mixed up. And again, they pull stunts like Games Workshop. They'll support something and then like, we're not making it anymore. Well, maybe you'll come back to it. I've lost my interest in playing things I don't really want to play. So, gaming isn't really therapeutic for me. This is. And work has been such a pain in the ass that I need more of this, not less of it. And I just got really burned out. All the effort that I put into trying to promote a set of rules, and which aren't even my rules, and I'm tired of people saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm really interested," and then they don't show up. You know, if you're not interested in something, don't show up. Don't tell me you're. Don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. God, I hate that. I mean, things come up, real things in real life, but don't say, "Hey, I'll be there," and you're not there. And a lot of people do that. Okay, while those guys are drying, let's get some other folks out here. Let's get some girls. I only have one girl here. You should call them ladies. I'll call them what I want. Yeah, let's put these two guys out. We're going to have to put them on something different because they're a team. That's everybody, right? All right, how many pennies do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 12. Okay, 5. And then I'm going to set these two guys off to the side because I need to make a special stand. If you put the 2 pennies on here, they're not going to be close enough to be able to do that. Unless I push one all the way to the front and one to the... Well, I mean, I could do that. I don't have to center it on the penny. The pennies are just... They're perfect. They're like the cheapest stand ever. No, there's no Lagarta here. Sorry. Hey, I named a whole damn vehicle after you. You should be happy. You look at pictures of like French resistance fighters, a huge percentage of them are dark haired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, obviously people are different, but I don't associate French with being dark haired as much. But there's a huge percentage of them being that way. I mean, obviously it depends on the person. Trying to find a guy that has one side that's smooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Okay. That's all the French resistance fighters I have. Although they make other packs of them in plastic. Yeah, I ain't worried about that. We get through all these guys and we need more folks. We're gonna worry about that. Okay. This other side is pretty flush, right? No, not this guy's the other flush side. I don't have to take all this off, just... If any of you guys have bad teeth, you may get flashbacks here of going to have work performed on you when you hear some of these sounds. I personally go to the dentist to fall asleep. And I get on an airline to get stressed out, so we're all different. I like going to the dentist. Well, I don't like going to the dentist. I don't mind going to the dentist, let's put it that way. Okay, these are all good. Let's see if we can put up with that. I'm not going to put these on epoxy. We always use... This is where it started of myself putting the figures on super glue to paint them, because when I was doing this, I would just super glue them down, and that was their stand. Okay. This looks... I'm not sure that's a lady. I know, 21st century problems. I'm not sure that one is, but a couple of these are. This one. This one's definitely a lady person. Okay, lady person. These figures are more to scale, which means their weapons are flimsier. Oh, this lady has a revolver with a little bit of flash on the tip and a Molotov cocktail. What is a French Molotov cocktail? Is that a French 75? Who am I missing? Ah, this guy, this clown. One thing's for sure, I won't be playing these guys and playing and having French beer. I'm sure there's probably beer that's made in France, which is decent, but it's it's not imported here. I haven't seen it here. I do for this. Just being consistent. I got about 70 figures that I don't like it because there's no flex in it. But these guys, a penny's not going to be flexing. If you're flexing a penny, you did something you really shouldn't be doing with that penny. Now, can I get these guys to assume their position and still be on the penny? I think that would do if I put them like that. Okay. Now, about 100 of these Litgo things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 26 guys. That's plenty. And ladies. 1, 2. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6, 7. And no, I'm probably not going to paint all these guys before I move on to something else. But these guys are ideal for this. You don't have to have a certain number of guys. I've got lots of French stuff, French buildings and stuff to paint. There's lots of 3D printed French stuff out there that's just amazing looking. 26 shall be the number of the count. That's a lot of guys. That's a lot of guys for this. Why does this thing get undone? Undued? Dude, you're coming undone. See, by the time I'm done with this, I should be able to, should have some of those other guys that are dry, be able to paint them. And we're going to do it one at a time as we like to do it. And I'm probably going to probably name the guys before I paint them. That's how I like to do stuff with other things that involve naming things. When I did the Gasland vehicles, the vehicle's named before I paint it. People still play that? I don't know, the rules got really complicated. The rules got, not, they get really complicated, they got the same issues with, they did with DBA. Well, what does the author mean? Oh shit, here we go. Same problem with Exacto-Blade, yeah. Mr. Barnes, welcome back. Just painting some onion sellers. I can't wait to see season 2 now, man. You got my juices flowing. I'm wondering what it's going to be. Well, if you set out that it's a really funny character, I'll probably like it. Because I like... I like most of the characters on there. I was reading that the French didn't like it. Who cares what the French think? Well, like I said, I think it's a pretty good series. Everybody makes an attempt to do some kind of a French accent. That's what they should do. You know, you can't just talk in, Cockney, when you're supposed to be from another country. Which is why I hated Death of Stalin. That was so annoying. Especially as one of those movies that everybody said, oh, it's great. Not with those lack of accents, it's not. How hard is it to fake a Russian accent? It's not hard. I didn't even say you had to do a good job. Just make some kind of an attempt. But I mean, those people are actors. That's what they should do for a living. That'd be like, me not knowing how to paint a figure. Well, that's what I do. If I can't paint one figure, then what the hell am I doing here? All right. I don't know why I have 2 extra ones. I guess I can't count. Nope. There he is, you imposter. Collaborator. I can guarantee he'll make you laugh. Well, let's stop building him up so much. I think the 2 British airmen could have been better, to be honest with you. They're probably my least favorite characters so far, is the 2 British airmen. And it's not because I don't like British characters, just they could have done better. Okay. But they got so many 3D printed like French buildings and there is a plethora of stuff out there that has just been calling to me. I get enough of these guys painted. I've earned the right to build some of that stuff. And I've got a destroyed French, I'm going to call it a manor house. It's pretty big. Let's put it this way. Whoever lives in that house isn't some clown that's complaining about working 35 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? And smoking cigarettes at the park. You've been crying building an MDF paint rack. Oh, you know, I really like MDF. I think it's a really cool material. I think it takes paint really well. However, I think it's a bitch to glue. It's a little too smooth sometimes. That doesn't mean I dislike the material. I just think it's kind of it's a different challenge. Like I like plastic models better than resin. I think resin is just very unforgiving. It sometimes has really good detail, but yeah. I have MDF stuff that I've glued and I used epoxy. And I don't know what the deal is with this thing, but maybe it's really jagged and I just don't know it. Now, we have many of these, and that's why I bought a huge pack. Notice I don't throw them away. I always find something else to do with them. These guys merit having a smooth edge of their stand. I looked up last night when I was trying to go to sleep, and what percentage of the population, of the French population, were in the resistance? 1 to 3%. Oh, so it's the 3%ers over there too. I hear not the call of the miniatures. I hath been cut off from the sound of miniatures. The dear born sobbing like a little girl that me. Well, who knows what he's having. I would imagine it's probably gluing them together and them coming apart. It's tricky. Clipboard material, I call that. MDF. There's a company that sells a lot of MDF stands and stuff, and they always come to our shows, except the last two shows. They didn't go to the previous one. I think they had a problem with someone in their family, like a health problem. Fair enough. So I was excited about them showing up at this show, and now they're moving locations, so they're also not going to be there. So I wanted to get some stands of MDF to use as chips for the orders of these guys. Because MDF takes a marker really well. If you get wood ones, it absorbs. And I don't want to go through the seal it just to write something on it kind of crap, But I guess we'll just have to wait till, I don't want to order them. I guess we'll just wait till September to get those. Unless I found something better. I did buy a bag of them from eBay Amazon pretty cheap. So maybe those will work out on me. Such an insomnia. Well, like last night, I made myself go to bed. I didn't want to, but I knew I needed to get up early this time. And this morning, yeah, by the time this is done, all these other figures will be ready to paint. Star Trek Ascendancy is the name of the game. The sticky things, what's the sticky things? They are heavy duty magnetic bottoms from Litco, which is the same manufacturer I get my DBA figures, DBA basing from, DBX basing from. And they make them in rounds. These are 20 millimeter rounds. And they're just a little oversized, which is fine. I don't want them to be undersized. And then just cut them flush. So if you got to move these guys around in a tray, they don't fall all over the place. Chumpette, is that a good French name? We like to call her Chapate. I do have a housewife and a priest around here somewhere from FAA, which is not my favorite manufacturer, but I do have them. And I do have some down pilots, but they're German ones. I guess they'll do in a pinch if I needed down pilots. I was looking for UK down pilots, but I think that the miniature companies they're leery of putting their own people down, I guess. Should find that friend of mine who hates the French and make him play French Resistance. I don't know why he hates the French. He says he's never met somebody that was from France. That's stupid. It's okay to dislike people, but not people you've never met. That's just dumb. Now, once you meet them, yeah, feel free to dislike them. As I like to say, if I don't like you, you did it to yourself. Oh, that's a super glue dude. Let's make sure he's nice and... I don't know why this magnet leaves this black shit everywhere. No, we got hand sanitizer. We're good. Do a Dad's Army scenario with German pilots. Never seen Dad's Army. Not available here in the States, or wasn't available. You get out of hand. Do a bed knobs and broomsticks German invasion of the UK. They have to be fought off by a bunch of like invisible knights and shit like that. That's a funny freaking scene in that movie. Oh, is this guy going to lose his barrel? Probably. That keeps happening. It's already flimsy to begin with. Well, this might be one of those guys that I'm not going to be in a hurry to paint. That's your favorite childhood movie? Excellent. I'm actually not a fan of mixing the cartoon media and live action. I've never seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Because of that, I know everybody loves that movie. Never seen it. Just not one of those things I normally care for. Just like some people I know don't like the time travel type thing, type plot device. Didn't bother me in that movie, but it just made me reminded me of that. The video froze. God bless it. All right, let's see. There we go. Just have to go into that app again. Stay frosty. I know what that means. I just don't know how it got that meaning. Look out for the Eskimos. Dreaming of rabbits. Speaking of rabbits and childhood, man, Watership Down. What the fuck? I remember when I was a kid. Holy shit. Of course, if I watch now, I'll be like, what's the big deal? Bloody rabbits. Warp Sailor Moon Dream. I've yet to see anime that I care for. Of course, I'm not searching for it. I'm not a huge fan of the anime style to begin with, so that's probably not a good fit for me. I got a video recommendation from a guy that I didn't know I followed, and he's some kind of anime. I don't know if he's an anime, but he's definitely a digital artist. And he put out a video the other day. I can't even remember what his name is. Sam something or another. Very talented. I don't know where he's from. Somewhere in Asia. Actually, I think he's Canadian, but his family's from somewhere in Asia. Anyways, he did a video the other day where he challenged his viewers to come up with some different renditions of some of his. I think his name of his video is something like "Draw My OCs." I'm like, what the hell's an OC? He's like original character. I finally had to look that up. So his own made up type characters or whatever. He's like a digital artist kind of guy, extremely talented. And can't remember what his name is. And I probably saw him drawing something, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll follow this guy, and never did anything with it. So he did this whole video that was like 30 minutes long, where people did their own take on his stuff, so to speak. And there's some really talented people out there. I mean, just like extraordinarily talented people. And as much as I would like to get involved in that, I can't be into everything. So I'm not giving up this hobby. So if I don't have time for this hobby and something else, then guess what? It's the something else. It doesn't happen. Because I like the idea of creating something in the case of these, and there's a chance of playing with them, not just putting them on a shelf or it's a artwork and that's it. I've been at this for 3.5 decades, and I enjoy the fact that these could have a use, something other than just visually appealing. I've done models before, and then they just sit there. They don't really call to me. This stuff is actually not easy to do because this material is actually it's gritty and kind of thick at the same time. but it's as magnetic as it can be, considering the size. So I don't like magnets sticking out past the edge of the stand. It's kind of bugs me. It's an easy fix. Okay, we got the meat and potatoes of this pretty much done. So we're gonna pick our candidate for our first guy. We're not gonna black base these guys just yet, but they are all on bases. And these vehicles, I'm not, like I mentioned last night, I'm going to use them. They're not exactly, they're 1940s vehicles. This one's actually a 40 convertible. I don't know if anybody in France had one of those, but they're potentially available. I'm not going to take them apart. That is just asking for me to have an injury. It's extremely, of all the things I've ever done in this hobby, the most stressful thing is drilling out these rivets, because you have to use precision and like strength at the same time, and there's just, those two things just aren't really compatible. So I've had a couple slip ups where I got scared I was going to injure myself. So let's see who our first candidate is going to be. I wish I had a marker for I could write on the bottom who I think this guy is going to be. Not somebody with these crazy socks. Not the flag bearer, though. I'm really excited about doing this guy. What did we say this guy was going to be? Pierre? Let's do Pierre. Let's check Pierre's stand to make sure it's 100%. Pierre with a Sten gun. What's the English version of Pierre? Is there an English version of Pierre? Okay, he's got some kind of a jacket, and he's got slacks. So he's not exactly wearing regulation military stuff. And he's got a beret. Berets are almost always black or dark blue, seems like it. And one thing we have to do is I have to switch out the paper on this thing. This thing is a moldy mess, unfortunately. So this is going to go bye-bye. To take this moment. I'm going to pull the other one out. Oh, this is for the smaller one, isn't it? No, it's for the painter too. Look how much smaller this is. You can't really tell, but it probably grows like 7 mil in each direction. Kind of hard to see there. What is this? What kind of setting do I have this thing on? There we go. Okay, so we're going to, I'm going to use a new one. That way we can clean this thing up. I will be right back in a few and we'll get started. Now, I kind of inadvertently made a mistake. I didn't take the new padding over to where I washed it, so I just put the old one back on it, just as well. Got some old paint on here. I know exactly how to get rid of that. Hand sanitizer. Use some antibacterial soap for this stuff. Smells good now. Haven't really had that much of a problem with mold. I do have 4 pennies down there, which, by the way, changed significantly. they're definitely have oxidized to some degree or another. It's supposed to keep the mold from happening, but this newly designed one certainly works a lot better than the old one. All right. One side has writing, it goes to the bottom. And I painted for many years without one of these, so I don't think it's truly necessary. It just makes your life easy. It keeps your paint from drying out and having to remix the same color again. All right, Pierre. Is there an English equivalent of Pierre? Would that be like Pedro in Spanish? Is it Peter? All right, so we know we're going to give him a jacket and a Sten gun. I'm never going to be done if I use the mouse pad. There's a ton of French Resistance reenactors. A ton of stuff on it, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to look for a guy that has a suit jacket on. So I'm thinking that's dark. Yeah, these berets are almost always black or dark blue. Fair enough. So I'm going to give him a black beret. So just for a little bit of contrast, we're going to do a grayish type jacket. And we got anybody visually with some the pants are almost never light, are they? Okay, we'll leave that page open there for a second. Peter. Yeah, that would make sense. That Pierre would be Peter. Okay. It's funny because I have not played. Finally got a red grass palette. They were out of stock everywhere. Designed in France. Obligatory black. And then we will get on our obligatory white. I ought to trash this one, but I don't think I have a spare in that color. That's this one. Cold white will work just fine. They didn't have the regular, just white. They had cold white. Cold white cash. Sounds like it would go with that. Okay, and gray. We have a multitude of grays. So, with that said, I'm going to paint his pants first. And we're going to start with SS Camel Black as the pants. Because the shoes are going to be a little lighter, also brown. SS Camel Black here. And we're going to get our obligatory. I've kind of gotten out of using the airbrush thinner. And I've gotten back now into using the Flow Aid. So we're going to put a drop of it. We'll put it right here on the palette. Which you can't see for whatever reason. Have the settings on this all messed up? I don't know. We're just hanging out. You guys probably don't care what I'm doing. We're just chilling and fulfilling. All right, now a brush that we have confidence in, but not the super anal retentive one for the face. That one probably will do nicely. All right, so we're going to, I don't think we want to go any darker than that. We're going to go ahead and paint his pants. Yeah, that probably work fine. In this dark brown color. He remembered to bring the brown pants. Yes, he did. I haven't really read anything on these folks in particular, but I would think that they have to be in hiding because otherwise they'd get drafted for, slave labor to build, tanks or some shit for the German war machine. A little bit more white. You happy with a wet palette? By the way, what the hell were you doing up last night? Because it must have been like freaking 3 in the morning for you. Maybe even earlier than that, Barnes. I was thinking I was going to bed. I said, man, that's pretty early for you. Which I would rather get up early and go to bed early than wake up late and stay up late. That's just me. Okay, we got that done. Oh, that's in the wrong place. Still in the wrong place. We need to move this. Pick up this room a little bit before tomorrow morning's session. A little too much of the move one thing, something else. Went to bed at 4:30 a.m. Wow. Okay. This guy's going to need a jacket. I like that color right there for starters. Neutral gray. The wife dropped something and woke me up at 8 a.m. Not happy. have a clumsy wife? I'm the one that gets up early. She'll sleep in. Actually, none of us are huge sleeper inners. We're pretty early morning risers, which comes in really handy if you're traveling. Neutral gray. Alright, we'll just keep using the same brush because it can paint these large areas pretty quickly. That one we'll have to mix with black. Now I'm going to give these guys tricolor armbands if I see them. They pretty much all have them molded on. Actually, I don't think this guy does now that I look at it. I'm not going to add it to them if they don't have it. I'm going to do the tricolor, but I don't think I'm going to write anything in the middle of it. Like I said, I don't want to make a predetermination on whose specific team they're playing on. What's that? I don't know. Yeah, actually, I think that's it right there. All right, we're going to leave that alone. Clumsy wife, unhappy life. Good morning. Why is this thing misbehaving? You bastard. Yeah, we got to spray some tanks. We're to that point, so there's no point in pursuing that, Marcus. So we're going to work on the guys I've been talking about working on in a long time. The Maquis. This particular agent of chaos is going to be Pierre. How did I know that the first French guy I was going to paint was going to be a very French named person? But like I said, there's all kinds of information out there. You know, most common names from whatever year, French names. So that's pretty handy. I'm not enjoying coffee very much lately. I'm really not. Alright, let's lighten this up with the core color. Should be able to stick with this brush. You know, and if you're happy with this color, you don't have to take the black out of it. You can just start adding the lightener. And that way you can have all kinds of different shades. My timing on Maquis is great. Recently purchased some resistance fighters from Caesar, and they are in the queue for May. There you go. Well, we're on the same team, man. You know, I'm just mixing stuff up because, well, I can't, something happens and I can't continue. In this case, is I can't spray. So there's no point in getting more tanks in a hole. And, ooh, this guy looks like he's got a shirt underneath that. Well, that one's going to be white, so it stands out a little bit. Let's get, I know what brush I want. I just ended up putting it away. No, we're going to have to put the glasses on, unfortunately. Let's start getting these guys out. They're going to be called upon soon to do their thing. And I'll be painting these guys one at a time. That's my preferred, this is the one I wanted. That's my preferred way of doing it. One guy at a time. So, I think I'm going to use a different font for these guys. Yeah, I just picked up watching Allo Allo again. So, that's some fun inspiration as well. I thought for sure the girls would enjoy watching that, but they didn't. Watch one episode and it was just too slow for them. Oh well, I'll just watch it alone. You oscillate between Axis and Allies, using a squad or vehicle on a typical paint based on the season we're in. So winter theater in the winter. I haven't messed with winter yet. I will at some point. Yeah, I mix between the two. They can't all be Germans. I know a lot of people are like, man, all they do is paint German stuff. It's like, you know, there are other folk. They do need to fight somebody. My favorite FAA miniatures. It's just the cheekbones, honestly. It's their faces. It's most of the faces, not all of them. There's other manufacturers I really don't care for either. There's one called, and it's just a sculptor's style. Um, oh, shoot. Is it TDQ? It's something else. CP Models. He has a style that figures have very, very, very gaunt faces. They spent way too much time on the Eastern Front. Just not my style. Just like I never cared for Splinter Light. One soldier's just holding a cup of tea. Well, that's You know, too much of that happened, and that's why France fell in 1940. Too many tea breaks. So if you're playing Maquis, what's the appropriate thing to drink? French 75s. Pretty sure cognac's in the French 75. I'm looking forward to these guys because these guys are all personality. Every one of them's different. Everyone's arm different. Every one of these guys could have a different agenda. Pierre may hate someone else and would love to see you're going wine. I can't drink wine. I'd feel like crap if I drank wine. I don't dislike how it tastes at all. It's not a taste issue. I just feel like crap. I prefer white because it's cold. Okay. This guy has a tricolor armband. And he also has a Le Face. Let's paint his Le Face and bring him to life. I might actually end up enjoying this too much. Well, that's the whole point. The whole point is to enjoy this. Otherwise, why are we even doing this? Have you seen this thing? This is the one thing that I bought 20 years ago or so. It was from a vendor that used to come to our shows, and he made this French taxi. And I'm like, if I ever get resistance fighters, I'm going to use them. They can pour out of this. Or maybe they need to get to this and get the hell out, you know. But I've got that French farmhouse that has a separate garage. And, you know, I want to do buildings. This little thing. Can it fit in here? No. No. This is really 15 millimeter, but it's large 15 millimeter or small 20 millimeters. Yeah. Yeah, we got some stuff here that's going to make this skirmish game shine. Definitely. And I think take it in really small bits. Like, you know, you could have 3 guys on the side, you know, and they've got to do whatever it is they got to do, and you learn the rules along the way. Okay, I think we're going to go with this brush, even though we may downsize when we get to do fingers and stuff like that. All right, we're going to get the old black out and the red leather. Now, some of the features of these guys are cartoony, but every one of these guys looks different. Unlike some of the other manufacturers where they look goofy and everybody looks goofy, and they all look goofy in the same way. You can't wait to see me paint that hovels. You know, I'm sure I'm going to kick it out of the park, but I spent too much time cogitating. Like, I don't know how it's going to turn out. Sometimes you just got to jump in and paint your way out. And it's the rubble, honestly, that bothers me. It's easier to paint something new or newish than something rubbled. I'm going to give it a shot, and if I don't try painting it, I'm not going to let myself buy more. And there is a lot of stuff out there that is really good. There's actually a company called, I don't know who it is, but it's on Etsy, and they make a 2-story French building that has a garage attached to it, and it even says garage on the top of it. And that thing is calling to me. That's calling to have some vehicle in there that these guys have to scoot out of there. And hey, to get in the spirit of things, I should take up smoking again. No, not doing that shit. That's another lifetime. 24 years ago. Italian Village you mentioned looked great. Isn't it? It's freaking amazing. Somebody actually makes Italian partisans too. Well, maybe this will be I got the tanks to do, because I already have them. I like fine doing it, but, I don't have to use all those vehicles in the games. I think, starting small probably would. I wasn't going to start some huge Russian front battle. So, yeah, Village looked awesome. It's super expensive, but if you can pull, I don't mind spending that kind of money if it's going to turn out well. If it's not going to turn out well and I'm not going to use it, then that's just kind of a waste of money. I don't know how the Etsy. I don't know how I feel about Etsy though. I'm not having really good results with something with Etsy right now, and I just feel like you just don't have a lot of recourse with it, as opposed to eBay or Amazon. This guy has a really good face. All right. Meaning it's got lots of features on it that make it easy to paint. So this guy's got the face, a beret, right? An armband. He has a pouch of magazines for the Sten gun and shoes, and he's done. So I had some foam board that I started doing my buildings many, many years ago, and I just got discouraged. I didn't have the internet. I didn't have. You just start getting into analysis paralysis, but like, I don't know if I could do this. Just freaking do it. Just freaking do it. Just fail, and you'll learn from failing. Just like when I did airbrushing, I made so many mistakes airbrushing, and none of them are huge mistakes. They're just you're not going to get shit right the first time. And don't let it bring you down. Green stuff molding. There's something I'm a noob at too. There's enough guides online. We could figure it out if we really want to. Okay. Now we add the flesh. The flesh colors. Shield. What do you use to, I don't even have a clue how to make something out of mold. I can't be into everything. You know, part of me wants to really get into the 3D printing stuff and like design some of this, because I have a CAD background, but I'm not willing to add frustration into my hobby. I'm okay with things taking a long time to do, but having to start over from scratch because of an electronic problem is just not my idea of a good time. Let the professionals do that. There we go. Now this guy's coming to life now. I don't like how long green stuff takes to dry, and I guess I know it's necessary. When I first started working with it, I didn't know you had to, you basically had to like use water so it doesn't stick to your fingers. So once I saw a video of that, I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. I think that's pretty good. Stem gun. Just gonna paint that in black. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. I try to find something to eat. I'm starving. I found these little protein cracker things, so. Old crackers. I eat stuff nobody wants. Those are old, really taste bad. Let me add them. The thing is mostly painted black already to begin with, so. We'll do a little bit of highlighting with some kind of metallic color. I've seen other people use gray, and I think it works okay. It's just not really my thing. All right. I did save a picture of this on purpose. Okay, red is on the left, blue is on the right. I mean, if you're wearing it. All right, we'll put the white down first. Why don't I have any? Why don't I have one of these over here? This is what happens when I paint. Every paint bottle usually ends up being down here instead of putting it back. All right, let's get the white down first. All right. Yep. So red on this side, blue on that one. This guy's little armband. We're not going to write anything on there. I could do a cross of Lorraine. I wouldn't do anything more than that. I'm not putting whether he's FFI or... Get a little bit of green ochre should work fine for this. I'm going to do his hair. We'll use this as a base. That's it. That should be enough. I just can't see out there. I just cannot see what is 2 feet away with enough detail to make the right decisions. It's too bright. I like using this color right here. Iron Warriors. Sounds like a sect of some Warhammer thing. Iron Warriors. It's good enough for me. Now, I'm going to go on the internet. It does not have to be a very intensive search. I know what color I'd like to use. But we're going to go British, World War II, Sten magazine pouches. It's exactly the color I want to use. Perfect. I know where you are. Well, actually, I don't know where you are. I know what color it is, but I know it's a... that would work, but that's not the one I want. Did it fall outside? No, it's here. It's called Field Drab from Coat of Arms. Just that and shoes, and he's done. And his beret. This is actually going to be the pop of color. There it is underneath here too. Okay, we'll just go to the straight. Okay, let's go up one level more. It's pretty good to me. Beige brown on the shoes. So this guy does not have a pistol, he just has a submachine gun. Got a bit of his shirt showing. Use brown to darken that. Oh, I guess that's the flow improver. Whoops. The brown merged with it. Put it up here away from some of the other troublemakers. Okay, this guy's done. Pierre complete. Now, you can't tell from there because you're all the way the hell over there. Let's see where this tool is. And I feel like I got so much space on there, I can put a little cross of Lorraine. Well, I can always add that afterwards if I feel like it. Let's just do a couple guys and see what they look like. Yeah, the armband adds that little bit of color. Adds that little bit of color, so. All right. He is complete. Next. It's kind of shirt sleeves. Now they're rolled up. All right, we're going to do this guy next. All right, different pants color. Be right back. You know, it's just inspiration. I don't have to go with anything they say on here. But want to mix it up. Want to mix it up without it looking too crazy. Okay, there's a guy with dark brown pants. Oh, and a striped shirt. Man, I can have fun with that. Corsican partisan. What? What do you get when you cross an Italian and a Frenchman? A Corsican? That guy's got bluish pants. All right, let's paint that guy like him. That'll work. All right, let me go ahead and kill this and be done with it. Still hungry. Story of my life. One of my favorite places to eat on a cruise is a French restaurant. Never get a chance to eat French food. Nowhere else. This guy's got no headgear. This guy's going to be Claude. Pierre and Claude. French MIR blue, which is kind of a grayish color. It's a very grayish color. Well, I may not want to do that. It looks a lot bluer here. Yeah. I can tinker with it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is we're going to make this more blue than it is. So let's tinker with the base color. This isn't my first rodeo. That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Not my first rodeo. It's not airbrushing, it's brush painting. I can handle this shit. Okay, so let's get some black. Actually, we're going to use that bigger brush. Oh, great on time. Now I get 2 guys done in this paint session, I'll be a happy camper. I think that's probably too big an ask, but this guy turned a lot better than I thought he was going to. Well, we don't know yet. It's not until you freaking seal this guy that the magic happens. And we're not going to gloss coat them. We're going to give them the good old treatment of the thick Testors flat lacquer. That gives them plenty of protection and makes them nice and dull. All right, so we're going to take this color, add a little bit of blue. I've done this business before too. Like my German uniforms, I'll take the field gray and add a little bit of brown to this one, a little bit of green to this one, and they change a little bit. And it's easy enough to do. It's not an exact science. Okay, and then take some black over here. And let's make us a dark shade for these guys. This is what he's going to paint his pants overall in. And when I was doing World War II last time, with doing all that nonsense that I just described about adding a little bit of blue, a little bit of green, a little bit of brown, I didn't have a wet palette, so I was having to mix that color a lot more often. One of my favorite things to drink is actually a French drink. One of the best tasting things. It's this stuff called Saint Germain. It's freaking amazing. Now it's thick. It's super thick. So it's usually an additive, an elderflower additive, but that over ice, freaking amazing. Okay, so we have this color here. We're gonna work this other one in here some and lighten it up. There we go. Nice. We've got to be careful we don't turn this into blue jeans. We don't want them wearing blue jeans. That's a little too trendy. For this guy. Speaking of drinks, Marcus, have you made it out to Tavern on the Green out there? It's not too far from your house. Got to get there when it opens, otherwise it's a huge line. But they got some good mixologists there, for sure. Nice. I like painting these civvies. Again, they can have bright clothing. It just can't be since it reopened. Yeah, we got there. We got there like 20 minutes before it opened when we went there, and we just had appetizers and drinks. And everything they made there was excellent. And it wasn't any more expensive than anywhere else. Like, oh, it's really expensive. Yeah, well, so's everything else. So you might as well have something that's that tastes good. Cool place. I wouldn't want to be there if it was packed, though. I could see it being really, really loud. But we got there right when it opened. All right, we're in here somewhere color-wise, so let's take a little bit of white. And see what that does. I better write this down before I forget. Where's a pen? Yeah, it's not necessary. A wet palette is not necessary. I've done most of my painting without a wet palette. It just makes it easier. You know, I can lay these colors out and come back to them in a little bit. All right, we've got Pierre. And now we will have Claude. Okay. I hear Claude. You know what I think of when I think of Claude? That was the name of the cat, that yellow cat on the cartoon that would get scared and it would get stuck to the friggin' roof. That's the Claude we had growing up. Not too far off this color. It's a yellow ass cat that would get this. Some animal would come and he would get spooked, and next thing you know, he's on the roof. One of them Looney Tunes spin-off things. Okay. We said this guy was going to be in shirt sleeves, and he is. Kind of a buff color. He does have some form of a sweater or a scarf, or it looks like a sweater to me. Well, ends. Scarf, we can worry about that later. We can make that a brighter color. All right. Let's minimize this. Doesn't have to be exactly the same color, but the color combinations look nice in contrast wise. Okay, so this guy's got like almost like a Boy Scout type khaki color. Boy Scouts of America khaki color. All right. Lots of ways to go with that. First of all, we can grab this one, which is the first one I see. Dark yellow. Let's take a look at this. What this looks like. Oh, you go. Nah, it's a little too yellow. It's gonna end up looking like he can blend in with that panther. He's got panther camo. I love using coat the arms. What about coat the arms khaki? What's that look like? That's what we're gonna use. I love using coat the arms. I don't like their lids. But other than that, big fan. Again, let's just use the big brush. Let's get a dropping of that stuff on there. And I'm going to mix black with it. I'm not afraid of mixing black with yellow type colors. It looks greenish. Yeah, well, I'm adding like 6 or 7 layers to it, so it won't be when you're done. Sometimes I use brown. I'm just sticking with black this time. And let's paint. Let's paint his shirt. Now, there are some things I need to avoid. His sweater being one of them, or scarf, or whatever the hell this thing is. His armband being the other one. And his armband is between there and there. Okay, so we'll paint everything else. In this color. I gotta remember, I got a haircut appointment. I don't want to do like last time, like, oh shit, I remembered like literally when it was time to it. You set up a reminder on your phone and it's like, hey, in 5 minutes you need to be, yeah, it takes 20 minutes to get across town. So it worked out okay, but. Guy's got a pocket. This guy's got a watch too, wristwatch. My kind of guy. The girls are waking. Okay. Time to make the donuts. No, we need a little bit more contrast, a little bit more of a step up than that. There we go. He stuck a small oil with time cast. This stuff is beautiful. Was almost tempted to get some Cote d'Ivoire paints. God, they're just wonderful. They just, I don't know what it is about them. It's almost they feel almost oily in a way, and not in a bad way. They just, you have a really good on the pigment count. They're my favorite ones, and I have so few of them. I'm not sure how I got them, honestly. I think they might have had them at the hobby store in Tampa 20 years ago, whatever, when I went. I have had them a long time. And I have a feeling the foundry paints are the same, but that may not be accurate. So. I bet somebody will have them at Salute. Did I get your Skytrex decal set yet? No, I did not. They take forever. They're going to be like, they're supposed to arrive by next Friday. But I got enough decals to get the stuff done. I've got the 4 or 5 vehicles decaled. I'm not working on them because I've got to spray them in clear coat. So I figured, well, let's start working on some Maquis. And this is going really well. I was not motivated to do figures at all. I don't like painting Panzer Commanders because they're wearing all black, and it's like, even if you do an excellent job, it looks like you're missing something just painting them all black. You could do assault gun crews, and they've got a little bit more color on them, but being field gray. But no, they're en route. They're en route. They're on the slow train across the pond, but they'll arrive here just in time. I figured, well, I'm going to work on some figures. Let's work on some Maquis. I'm excited about naming these guys or discovering who these guys are as I'm painting them. And just enjoying it. There's nothing like painting figures. I really do like painting figures. When I was a 1/35th scale modeler, I dreaded painting figures. Because I got to paint faces. And I'm like, I look forward to painting faces. That's when the folks come to life. this guy's turned out even better than the last guy. Well, I'll be honest with you, the other guy is kind of quirky in his in the style that he's done in, but I'm not the sculptor. And just about everybody's sculpts, or some are better than others. Man, I love Coat the Arms paints. But it's on order. It's supposed to arrive, I think, by Friday. Of course, Friday I'm not going to be here. I'll be at the convention in Orlando, which I will try to do a video on, you know, kind of just a flyby video type of thing. Only thing I'm signed up to play is Lion Rampant all day on Saturday, 3 different games, with a game master that I'm a big fan of. He always puts on excellent games, so I'm looking forward to that. And it was really kind of the reason to kind of get my foot in the door to, you know, maybe start experimenting with playing Lion Rampant with my 15s. But I'm kind of enjoying painting more than I am gaming. All right, we're going to add a little bit of white to this. Oh, yeah. But I do like these Battlefield miniatures. They definitely have a lot of character. Sometimes some of their details are kind of out of scale, especially their feet. They tend to be heavy-footed. Heavy-footed folks. All right, it's flesh time. Uh-oh, do we have a piece of flash we didn't take off there? Looks like we do. Thank you. All right. Time to flesh this guy out. Time, take a gander at the fire and iron table at the con. The shot and shield guys said they're doing a Russo-Persian war that sounds interesting. Which con are we talking about? It sounds like you mean Salute, but I won't be at Salute. Is this something, and I can't imagine you would know anything that would be happening at a convention in Orlando, although, you know, you could. Fire and iron table at the con. The shot and shield guys said they're doing a Russo-Persian war that sounds interesting. Yeah, what convention is that at? Maybe Russo-Turkish? You talking about Blood and Steel? The one I'm going to, it must be Blood and Steel. There's some interesting game mechanics in that game. I don't know that... I don't feel like it feels like the period, but um, how you manage your initiative rolls is certainly an interesting game. Mitch and I had a good time playing it. Joel played on the other side in one of them. He has this thing. I like playing games with Joel, but I guess we all have things that kind of make us unique. The thing that makes him unique is he doesn't like to cooperate in games very much. He's like he doesn't want to like he says what does he call it? Decide by committee. Well, it's not really like a committee, but it's good to talk about like what to get input from other people. Still do whatever the hell you want, but I just think it's a way of socializing. You know. Blood and Steel. Okay. There's a guy that's running the. The problem is you have to sign up for stuff before all the games go in. So games will start coming out. I'm like, well, I got to jump on that bandwagon because otherwise that won't be available later. And invariably, there's nothing I specifically want to play on Friday, which is okay. That'll be shopping day, and see if I'll get into something. And but on Saturday, one of the guys that always runs Sword in the Flame, he's running a Anglo-Russian thing. So that's cool. I'm gonna pop over there and take a look at his stuff. I think those two are. I think that's a good recipe for a cool scenarios in Afghanistan. And but it's at the same time that I'm playing Lion Rampant all day on Friday, right? No, all day on Saturday. All day on Saturday I'm playing Lion Rampant, which I've played before and I actually like. And I really like the GM that's running that Lion Rampant. That's actually why I signed up for it. So he always puts on good games. Well, he's running 3 different scenarios. Ambush, raid, and like battle or something like that. And it's all crusade stuff. I'm pretty sure you can switch sides in between them. It's not like I don't want to play one side during all of them, so. We played 2 games of Blood and Steel last convention. And it's okay. I think it's if I was getting really into that, I would use the rules kind of as a guide and then doctor things up because honestly, there's just not that much difference between the different nationalities. And I would make it so that there would be a little bit more, but it's easy enough to do. Adding a +1, a -1 kind of things here and there. Somebody makes, I think it's Strelset. Strelset makes a 1/72 scale, lots of different things, but they make a Crimean War. They make a Crimean War Russian infantry. They come like 54 guys in a pack or whatever, right? They're all injection molded. Every single figure is different. So you have 54 or 48 individual poses. You get one of each pose. That's pretty freaking awesome. And not necessarily something that is important if you're going to base these guys in units of, 2 to 8, 12 guys in each one. But if you're basing them individually, that's pretty neat. To able to play a skirmish game like that, and each person is represented, and each person is different, in a different pose. I think I came across that recently, and I was like, that is pretty amazing. Now, I'm not particularly interested in the Crimean War. I do think that with the uniform that the Russians wore during that time period, with the little pointy helmet and the big jacket, I think that looks pretty cool. I think it's Strelset. This guy looks a little bit like, here we go. Here we go on the actors, forgetting actors' names again. The Irish guy from Jurassic Park, whatever his name is. He looks a little bit like him. Riley, Ace of Spies, whatever his name is. I've never seen that. I should. I probably waited too long to see it and probably wouldn't like it. Probably a little too dated. Hey, the guy from New Zealand, whatever his name is. Terrible about remembering people's names. I don't think about actors. That's why. I'll remember them. Oh, that guy in the movie or whatever, but I don't sit around all day and, oh, I can't wait to meet so-and-so. Oh, what's his name? Sam Neill. Yeah. Guy's face looks a little like Sam Neill. That'd be a little bit too much of a step up there. I don't like going really drastic from one flesh color to another. You end up looking like, as somebody put it on the miniatures page, and I'll never forget, meat cutting charts. Yeah, he dropped the O. It's just Sam Neill. I don't know why he dropped the O. He's obviously an O'Neill. It's not doing a very good job of hiding your clan there, Sam. Or maybe one of his ancestors dropped that. All right, let's add a little bit more of this. The Skytrex German air recognition flag decals work nicely. Do they have the crooked spider? Or I did encounter in the last week that that symbol that the Balkenkreuz uh, with the black on the edges, which I do like how it looks. It's not that I dislike how it looks. I just don't want to put something on there that I've never seen on hardly any vehicle. I actually probably prefer how it looks compared to the other ones. But I discovered in the last week that sure enough, they use that sometimes on, instead of the crooked spider, as an air recognition flag. I was not aware of that. But if you saw that on a games table, it just seemed like, somebody's crooked spider included. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it could, I printed a set out here somewhere. I don't know where the hell they went to, but I'm not going to put them online because, it's not worth the trouble of, I don't think anybody would be offended. Certainly none of my viewers. It's just one of those things that just be one of those automatic things and I have to try to contact them to get unbanned. And you can't talk to a human and it's just not worth it, We'll put them on for games here or whatever, if they're necessary, if they're needed. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, yeah. Kudos to whoever sculpted this face. I'm not sure if this is Andrew's work or not. There's a couple of sculptors at Battlefield. I don't know who the other one is. Well, whoever did this one, these faces are spot on. They're like AB faces. They're like AB faces. Now he's looking more like Norm Macdonald than Sam Neill. Just keeps changing from one person into another until we're done. Okay, it's tricolor time. And let's do the white first so we get it in the place that we want it at. If you post such a model on Twitter, get a nice little message telling your tweet has been withheld in Germany at the request of the Bundestag due to German federal laws. Yeah, I tried Twitter for a little while. It's not very user-friendly. You get a lot of tweets sent to you, even though you're not subscribed, about stuff you're not interested in. Like, they love putting, like, politics and stuff. Like, I don't want to follow anybody that's famous. I'm not interested in that. I kept getting so much junk mail of things that I didn't sign up for that I'm just like, this isn't for me. So I did give it a shot. Last year sometime, I think. It's just not for me. Ooh, did I make a boo-boo? Nope, I didn't. I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. Not this time, pal. do reds on this side. I watched the intro to Cross of Iron the other day on YouTube. I wanted to see if I remembered it, that catchy tune. That's now stuck in everybody's head now because I mentioned that. I remember always liking it, but man, I didn't remember how much Hitler shit was in it. I mean, there's a lot of Hitler in it, which is kind of unnecessary because he's not out on the front. Beware of short men carrying mustaches. You know, there's some things that are just kind of, you know, it's kind of weird that they make certain things, okay? It's not weird to have a model kit with a crooked spider on it. They used it, they put it on their planes, build a Messerschmitt or a Stuka, you gotta have one of those on there or you're making a wrong model. And then there's other things that are like, why did they even make this? An example I'm gonna use is one I came across just this last week. I was looking at Panther pictures and I came across this guy. Picture this guy who is like your stereotypical freaking perfect Nazi type of looking dude. He's a guy who is a Panther commander. I think he was the Panther Regiment commander of Hitlerjugend. A guy named Max Wunsch. And there's this picture of him in the cupola of a tank, and it's like right out of a propaganda movie. It's like he's got this freaking cool camouflage. He looks cool. He's an evil fucking bastard, but he looks cool. And look it up. There's a picture of him, you know, in the cupola of a with this camouflage thing, and he's got his. I mean, you know. And they make a 1/6 scale figure of him. Why? Why does somebody want a 1/6 scale G.I. Joe size figure of this Nazi bastard? I mean, I'm fine that they make it. I'm not against things being made, but it's just like, why him? You know? It just weird. It'd be like if they made Himmler. Like, why do you have Himmler or, you know, Hitler or whatever, you know? A fully political, you know, rat bastard. Saw something about using a chalk marking as an air recognition marking in the early war before what I'm doing, but it was interesting. I heard about that too. Yeah. Oh, this guy looks good. This guy looks good. Claude looks good. The original Antifa. We're not doing Antifa, guys. That's bad too. I like to think all these guys are free French. I can get behind that. I can get behind them liberating their country from the Bosch. All right. Oh, poopy diapers. I didn't paint the inside of his arm there. Oh well, no problem. If you missed something, odds are what you missed is not very complicated to fix because it wasn't a very big thing, because that's why you missed it. Okay, I am not going to do a deep dive into what color their wristwatches were in France in the 1940s. I'm just going to assume that it's a leather banded wristwatch and that it is not digital. You can take things too far, and that would be a way of doing that. All right, and I think we need to do, let's use one that has a little bit of red so it pops out in it. Like this beige brown is floating around here somewhere, probably be fine. Although I use that for shoes. Let's not do that. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's use this one right here. What color is this? Chocolate brown? All right, we use chocolate brown for that. We're getting into transom light time. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, I really don't think anything should be banned. But everybody should be smart enough to know, you know, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I don't want to play play a Flames of War thing, and I'm wearing a T-shirt that has SS runes on it, or any German division for that matter. If I see somebody with it, it doesn't offend me. I'm just thinking that could be in poor taste if the wrong person shows up. That could be misconstrued as something else. And I'll be the first to admit that the freaking Germans were masters of propaganda and had really cool symbols and stuff, but I'm not going to wear around in a shirt, you know. Even if it's something that doesn't have a rune or a crooked spike or whatever. Although the cutest one's got to be that submarine that has a little sawfish. Remember, it has a little red sawfish on it? He's cute. It's almost like deserving of a cartoon or whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Some U-boat that has that as a symbol. Pretty sure it's a U-boat ace. What an ace. That guy's such an ace. All right, we're going to go with some form of gray for the lens. Honestly, that should suffice. Maybe add a tiny little bit of white in a couple places, like on the edge like that. That should be fine for that. All right. Do we have any more of... No, it dried out. All right, so let's pull that out. Because I see a strap here for the Sten gun. I think the Sten gun was fairly reliable considering it looks like me and my buddy put one together at the welding shop. Anything that shows a spring, not noticeable, it's like... But it looks kind of rinkety, but I think it was fairly reliable. furthest I would go is putting quotes and symbols in a scenario handout to set the mood, like the chorus from Erica or something to break up the paragraphs. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The furthest you would go is putting quotes. Yeah, symbols on it. Symbols on a handout are fine. Yeah, symbols on a handout are fine. I don't have a problem. I'd put the symbols on a vehicle if I was, building Kampfgruppe Piper or something like that. I'm just not going to wear the freaking shirt of that. That's If you're wearing clothing that you may have to explain what the meaning of you wearing it is, you probably don't need to be wearing it. And I'm fine with them making it. There's one guy that went a Historicon. He made a Historicon video last year, and he was just one of those guys that I wouldn't be able to game with. One of these woke guys that's just afraid of everything. Oh, people shouldn't do this. And, there's the guy that does the t-shirts and the videos. And, yeah, he's got some controversial stuff on there. I don't think he's a white power guy or a Nazi or anything like that. But he's got, stuff that could be worn by the wrong people. But this guy made this long video how he was crying about it. Like one of these guys that lives here in this town, this crazy leftist town that I live in. Crying about it. And that's fine, but I guarantee that guy that was crying about it, if this guy had a bunch of, leftist bullshit, leftist propaganda, he'd be fine with it. Both of it's propaganda. So, shouldn't be wearing any hammer and sickle crap either, folks. Unless you're a fan of not having freedom, and in which case, we can pick a time next week. We can come over and shackle you. Some people try to dress up as SS officers, play a game, even with no band attention. It's just too far. I agree. Makes you wonder what they're really doing. Now, I'd be fine if I was in some kind of a play and I got to play one of those bad guys. That's okay. Movies, that's okay too. When I had my war game room in the old house, when I lived alone, I had a flag. I had a room that was fairly big, kind of like a living room, and that's where we had the game tables and everything. And I had real size 3 foot by 5 foot flags, and I had, 12 of them, 10, at least 10 of them. And the crooked spider flag was one of them, along with a rising sun and an American flag with the right number of stars for World War II, and and the French tricolor, the Italian one with the shield they used in World War II, the Union Jack, all that kind of stuff. Not just the one flag. So yeah, not dressing up as an SS anything. I'm not even that interested in painting SS guys. I probably, if I keep going, will get around to them because their camouflage is cool, but I feel like I need to call them rat bastards every time I mention them. It's almost like it's my duty. And I will be consistent. I will call the commissars those things too, as well. And I got some cool looking commissars to do. 3 or 4 of them, actually. Really interesting looking figures. Make sure you don't stand in front of them. They might think you need some motivation. Yeah, I had this friend of the family, their son had a complete SS uniform, and he said he used to wear it for Halloween and stuff. No, that just there's lots of other costumes you can have. Why do that? It just sends the wrong message. the uniform's really cool. Okay, so pick something else that's also cool. It's not like that's the only uniform that's cool that's out there, you know? We're not asking you to dress up as one of those, the Greek presidential guard. You don't have to wear pom-poms on your shoes, but... Poor guys. Those guys are supposed to be badasses. Not dressed like that, you're not. One man's badass is another man's jackass. Okay, that's probably good enough for that. We got to do Claude's hair, his boots, and whatever the hell he has around his. It's probably some kind of a scarf. All right, I feel like I should make this guy dark haired. This guy's kind of blondish a little bit. Let's see if I can get an idea of a sweater. I don't want to do red because there's a lot of guys that have like a red bandana around their. I've seen reenactors. Apparently, that's a thing for the resistance. Or it seems like it is, and I want to save that for the. I want to save the red for the ones that have it around their necks. So I don't really want to go there. Let's see if I can find anybody. And there's a lot of these guys. Man, I could hardly see with the. Oh, they got these girls with these dresses with like little dots on it. Well, that could be challenging. I think that'd be hard to pull off and look convincing. I don't see anybody there with a sweater. The scarf doesn't look like it's solid red. Looks like it's got a design on it or something like that. And there's a lot of pictures of these. And you know, generally, these folks, oh, I don't like these guys. Belarusian partisans. Yeah, I don't like communist partisans. Nazis are bad. Communists are also bad. You heard it here first, folks. I may just do it red and just like that's a kind of a long scarf or whatever. You know, it would certainly be a nice contrast. You could always do it, and if I don't like it, I change it later. It's towards the outside. Let's just make it red. Let's just make it red, and we won't use the same red. We will use this red, and we won't bring it all the way up. We won't lighten it up as much as we could. I'm not convinced of it. What time is it? I probably need to cut off. I probably need to cut off. Let me just do that, and I will percolate. I'll think about that throughout the rest of the day. But we did get Pierre done. We're gonna go ahead and clear coat Pierre while we're at it. That way we can mess with him when you get back. And that's the beauty about doing individual figures, is I don't have to wait until I do a whole bunch. I can just literally do the one guy that I need to do. This stuff right here is what I like to use, dull coat, top coat from Testers. And the thing with this stuff is you do not want to go over it. It gets sticky really quick. Oh yeah, it's the time to quit. Here's the, you can see how much glare I'm getting here. Let's quickly get a brush that will work for this. And I believe it's this one. I try not to mix these brushes up. Actually, we could probably do this, can't we? I won't scuff up the shoes. I can't work on this. Actually, I welcome the bright light, but it's disorienting. Definitely. Yeah. So anyways, we got Pierre done and Claude mostly done. So, yeah. Looking forward to it. We can do some fun stuff with these guys. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Happy Saturday.